Well, hello, folks. How are y'all doing? So good to see everybody. Well, metaphorically speaking, but it's still good to see you. I mean, it goes to show you what reality really is. I mean, it's about, this whole perception thing. It's like, you know, 80% is what scientists say. I don't know that our brains fill in 80% of what we perceive to be real. And that's weird. I don't care what anyone says. Reality, such a mind coitus, it's like, geez. So welcome everybody. How is everyone? I see everyone in the chat room. Happy birthday, Jan. 66, huh? Well, darling, you're still young. That's the way I look at it. And hey, Jackie, absolutely lost in space. Blazing River, what's up? Linda Espinoza, how are you? The doc is in the house. And Saul, how you doing? Stephanie Marie, good to see you. Bonnie, hello. Gemini Ascension, what's happening? Go all the way from Croatia. One of my considered very close soul friends, Gaia and Paul, good to see you. The goddess Abina. Bernadette, how are you? B, what's up? As I look at everybody else, Robert Scott, much love and respect, buddy. Love the dude. Gilbert, the brother from another mother. That's all I got to say on that one. And Julie, good to see you. Joe Max says, spirit guide in training. Yeah, we all are. That's a fact. You may not believe it, but you truly are. Let me just speak favor over us. And as I like to say, shalom, which means nothing missing, nothing broken. That's peace. All we are saying, could you imagine? Nothing missing, nothing broken. Yeah. Anyway, so we get that out of the way. It's like you just have to do it. Words are important. Words create reality. And if God is, then God is all about words. Well, hell, you could say the same thing about Satan, the devil, Lucifer. What a crowded place, isn't it? And yesterday's show, I loved it. A lot of y'all, I read the comments and they're still coming in. I'm an independent. You know, in my youth, I probably leaned more to Democrat because, you're the youth. You just, things you have to learn. And of course, that was all during, Watergate and, Nixon and, the Republicans were bad. And, after what our government did in assassinating Kennedy and then his brother, Bobby, I mean, and then Martin Luther, think about this whole situation. So, you want to become like, well, this is where the revolution is at. So I'm going to wave my Democratic flag. Then somewhere along the line, you get this whole thing, and particularly if you get religion, because hey, everybody knows God and Jesus are registered Republicans, and all the dead vote Democrats. So it means the afterlife is ruled by Democrats, and Democrats are ruled by Satan, the devil. Yeah. Fucking nonsense. I mean, talk about mind control. You know, I mean, and folks, I say that in jest, but you and I know they really promote that shit. I mean, that's exactly what they see. And listen, I know all of them, I know all the national evangelists and all of them. It's all bullshit, let me just tell you. Um, but yeah, they'll tell you. God is a Republican. I tell you what. So what God do us independents have? What, each other? So anyway, don't take it so freaking serious, folks. I mean, listen, it's the deep state that really runs the government. The United States is a corporation. They got this facade that's out there that people really think that we're some kind of fucking democracy. We're not a democracy, never have been, never will be. Democracies fail. Anyone who is a student of history, all you have to do is read the great empires. Greece, Rome. I mean, all of them were democracies. They all crashed and burned. The problem with democracy, technically we're a republic. They don't teach that shit anymore, do they? No. And so, folks, you're a board member because the United States is a corporation. Now, whether it's, like going in and the dice are loaded, no fucking way that you're ever going to roll that seven or that, exactly 11 because it's rigged. Yeah. But anyway, as a board member, do an interview. Don't get fucking hung up on the personality bullshit. I mean, look at it as though you were going to hire these idiots, and that's what they are. I mean, no disrespect to either side, but anyway. And as I said before, it's one of the same coin. We don't even have two sides of the coin. They only give us one. Ain't that a bunch of crap? And do you know why? You know what the biggest threat to any established government, corporation, organization is? I'm looking at, hey, Chloe, what's up, F. Kitty? Good to see you, darling. Hey, Trina, much love to you. By the way, send some healing and some love to Ryder Lee. We were going to do a show, and he's still catching a healing. And boy, as I'm learning, many of you have faced whatever the hell this thing is. It sucks. That's all I know. But anyway, hey, Chris, good to see you. Uh, Rick, what's happening? And Darth, what's up? Left wing, right wing, it's the same bird. There you go. Exactly. But you know what the biggest threat to any of these, governments, organizations, free thinkers? We are the existential threat to democracy. Where did that come from? But it's true. You look at every communist takeover, where the Marxist, socialists, who do they go after? They go after the free thinkers, not the intellectuals so much, but the intellectuals are right there because the problem, if you're truly an intellectual, you think, and you ain't going to buy no party bullshit. I always think about the unions. I was a union member for a number of years. What a bunch of assholes. I mean, they truly are got their head up their ass, because they go by one party line, but the one party line is the one that's actually wreaking havoc. No common sense. And free thinking, can't have that. Oh, so you're one of those, huh? Mm-hmm. We're aware of you. Hey, they're aware of us. If you're in this conversation, they're aware of you. You see, we are the existential threat to democracy. Why? Because we question everything. Everything. And we don't buy the party line bullshit of either party, you know. And I used to think that being independent was something, but now, if you look at it, they're trying to fashion and cornhole the, independence. Well, independents have a tendency based upon their economic and social. What the fuck? As a free thinker, we say, fuck you, double time. We don't like your thoughts. We don't like where you actually come from in your ideologies. They're restrictive, they're limited, and they're just ignorant. That was Political Opinion by R. Wayne Steiger. Folks, I mean, seriously. God, Jesus is a Republican, and Satan, and yet they never use Lucifer. We know why. Lucifer scares the shit out of them. It scares the shit out of the Christians, the Jews, the Muslims, even the Satanists. You say, well, no Satanist. I mean, seriously. And you start challenging. Had someone write an email and say, I found it very offensive that you were attacking Satanists. I wasn't attacking anybody. Obviously, you didn't watch the show. I methodically went through the different ideology and philosophical viewpoints of what, quote unquote, a Satanist, a Christian, and a Luciferian is. So anyway, uh, Facebook took down my posting about the school shooting. Yeah. Yeah, what about Facebook? I mean, I don't go on Facebook. If you send me a link to Facebook, I don't go on it. Um, I don't, you know, YouTube is somewhat tolerable. And fortunately, there's now alternative platforms. But yeah, I don't need a social media platform to be my parent or to be my God. I don't need them to tell me what is truth and what is not. Again, I ask you, Facebook, Google, who is the arbitrator of truth? You won't answer the question, will you? Because it's a trap. But no, you'll try to pretend. So is Facebook a Satanist organization? How about Google, YouTube? Are they? They're damn sure not Christians. So what would you say? They're all about control, right? They're all about carnality, right? Monetary, yeah. Make billions and billions and billions of dollars each month, yeah. Folks, I tell you, we take this all way too seriously. Hey, El Gapo, good to see you. Jan says, I'm apolitical. I think that's cool. Whatever free thinkers, and this is just my opinion, free thinkers are the ones who say, wait a minute. There's no one party, there's no one system here that's perfect. If you got humans involved, and if you got money and you got perceived power over other humans, you got a corrupt system. It's just true. I did a video a number of years ago where I laid out my platform of how to reform Congress. You know, you limit a congressperson and a Senate person to just 2 terms. And then you reduce the Senate term down to a 4 year so that the Senate represents the executive branch. And they don't get these high salaries. They get paid minimum wage with a stipend. We provide them with barracks in which will be their housing on military bases. I mean, if they're already set up. No, and I mean no lobbying whatsoever. It's a federal offense. If you're a lobbyist, you're there to corrupt, and that's how you begin to get rid of this. What happens then? These races, like here in the state I live in, the one Senate seat that's up, they're spending an estimated 90 million freaking dollars, right? Between the one liar and the other liar. So you got the two liars here lying to each other themselves and consequently the public. And so why do you spend almost $100 million on a job that at the most pays 600? If you look over the term of the contract, 6 years, right? Pays about 800, 900,000 in that 6 year period. Where's the ROI on that? You see these free thinkers? And that's where we come in. We question everything. We realize that humans by nature are just, you could say broken, but we're so easily manipulated. I mean, every religion, every politics that's out there, every organization, every secret society and what have you, think about the bullshit that's in there. That's why I could never be a Mason. I'd laugh at them. And of course, then they're going to call me a fool because, I'm laughing at God's knowledge. Well, which fucking God are you talking about? You don't answer that one, huh? I don't know. So anyway, isn't Deep Purple really a great band? I tell you, I love Richie Blackmore. And, I was seeing someone in the comment section that said, Machine Head, it was one of my first albums. I got that back a year after it came out. And to begin with, before I could really afford like a real stereo system, I had, one of the box and the crate things, I mean, you remember they had a turntable in there and it was a piece of nice furniture, but the high quality of stereo, and then that came out with quadraphonic. I did do that. You know, I was selling enough drugs that, yeah. But hey, I can tell you how social systems work. They don't. Thank you, state of Texas, for putting me on the street at the age of 15. Can't thank you enough, Harris County. Mm-mm-mm. But seriously, I wouldn't change it for the world. If I could go back in time and you had that ability, right, that you could actually manipulate time, and you would say, all right, if there was something in your life that you could change, would you change it? Fast poll for everyone in the chat room. Would you change it? I look back now, I don't want to. I wouldn't want to change it. Living on the street wasn't easy, and many of us, we come from that tribe. And this is what makes up, many of us have this. I think of Brenda, street mom. You know, now I wouldn't want to be on the street today. It's a fucking war out there. Thanks to this administration allowing the invasion to take place. I mean, you folks in Aurora, Colorado, holy crap, in Chicago, now Dallas, Houston. Ay, 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 ay. But anyway, getting back to that point, it was the best fucking time. It sucked in so many different ways. And many of us know this. There's those of you who are a little bit older than I am. There's a few of you out there that's probably more than a few that are a little younger. But if you grew up on the street, and I tell you, I love the Montrose area, you know, it was fucking far out. I mean, I think of John Scott, a good buddy of mine at the time. We dropped so much acid together, and it was always a trip because we would be like at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning walking around in the neighborhoods of the Montrose area, and you meet the most unusual people. And I look back on it, and it was never a fear of any violence. You know, we I remember in a particular time there was this Quick Mart, and for some reason, I guess we ended up buying some hot chocolate. I just remember this, and there was this car, and then we got into this car. We didn't even own it. Thankfully, the guy was pretty cool, knew that we were really tripping, and anyway, so. But that goes back into different times. Hey, Grace, what's up? Good to see you off the hook. Yeah, great music. It really was. You know, I got to get in with the group at a place called Of Our Own. It was many of you, if you grew up in Houston in 1970 and 71, 72, you know what I'm talking about. It was a great place where we hung out. It used to be called the Catacombs, and they closed that down. And then they opened up Of Our Own. And it was a great place to see bands, local bands. And, you would get national acts that just would come in and drop in. And anyway, I got to know the guy that was in charge of doing the light show. And we had an overhead projector in which we had oil and water with different colors. And of course, you could do that and it would give a real psychedelic effect with the band. And I got to tell you what, I thought I was a fucking king. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So anyway, I'm just reading Chris's life is tough and dirty, but also great fun and exciting. It truly is. Hey, Shannon, what's up? Good to see you. Uh, yeah, I got lots of them. I got hundreds of them, but thank you. I mean, I've told y'all the story about this guy that he was going to the University of Houston. And anyway, we had friends up in Austin. And so we decided to go up there on this weekend, and we had some window pane. And we went up and saw this chick. As I look back now, I mean, she lived right off campus, Debbie. And so we all decided to drop this acid and go walking on the University of Texas campus. A fucking trip, man. I still remember this cat. We were sitting around this fountain, and this dude is bare ass naked. I mean, butt ass naked, and he's carrying this water hose. And we thought we were tripping. This dude was like really tripping. But anyway, I just hey Lady Ellie, good to see you. Red Herring Media, what's up? Anyway, I digress. But why not? It's reality. It was my reality. And that's, I guess, the great thing. A lot of us who, partook of the psychedelics back then. And I think about my mind, at that time I was 16 years old, and close to 17. And, when you frame reality under the influence of LSD, mescaline, peyote, whatever the case may be, psilocybin mushrooms, they do a number on you. But it's really interesting because your mind, from my perspective, as I look back on it now, why I never had a bad trip, not one. Had a couple of issues with strychnine, thank you very much, but so my perception of reality was indeed fluid. I was experiencing things that most 16-year-olds, were not experiencing. Now, back in the day, probably more than what I would have thought. There were quite a few of us, but um, you know, we didn't have a school. You couldn't go to school. If you didn't have a permanent address, you couldn't go to school. So, what do you do? Well, you learn entrepreneurship. And anyway, and all these experiences help frame what our perception of reality is. Now, there are some minds out there that couldn't handle it. Well, that's true. I mean, that's all right. Um, because there are those who listen to my encounters and experiences, and there's several that have wrote me and said, "You're fucking nuts." Well, that's a matter of opinion, you know. Um, I'd happen to say I could debate anyone on that. But anyway, the captain. I'm driving the bus, right, everybody? Yeah. Robert Scott says Griffin Park, LA, late 60s. Yeah. Hey, Ann, what's up? Good to see you, Elderberry. Mr. Floyd, good to see you, my friend. Haven't seen you. Millie, hello. So, an Elderberry, how are you? Every time I think of you, Elderberry, I think about Elderberry, Missouri. And yeah, Ron Martin. Mm. His wife eventually hired a hitman that killed him in the house because I was doing drywall back then. I was in construction, and with the 357, I still remember we had been up deer hunting up in Ellsbury, and um, I really didn't hunt. It's more getting in stone than I was anything else. But anyway, there was one bar in town. And when Ron Martin came up there, I mean, he was like the the mafiosa, In fact, he was part of the mafia. Uh, and I remember him and I sitting at the bar, and his wife, Ellen, comes in, and she's only like 5'1", 5'2" at the best. And, I didn't think anything about it. I thought, well, but she had come up there to take Ron home. And I remember I was sitting here, Ron was sitting here, and then Helen got in and she was off to his right. And I'm looking, and she pulls out this 357 and puts it in the side of Ron and says, "It's time to go home." Well, he handed me the keys to the truck because there's three other guys that were there. He says, "Yeah, it's time for me to go home." And that was the gun eventually that killed him. True story. Anyway, Jill Gilbert says, "Keep your hands on the wheel, your eyes on the road." Ah, yeah, I got, all of that. You can call me crazy. At least I have an excuse. Yeah. But yeah, please exchange energies with Wayne. And well, thank you, Mr. Floyd. I don't ever say hit the like button, but thank you. And all the comments yesterday, they were great comments. Even the guy that was, pushing the whole Jesus thing, and it's cool. As I wrote to him, I guess it's a him, assuming that's dangerous, but anyway, it's like, listen, we respect your belief, respect ours. We know who the cat is. We're all adults here. This is a studious group of any group I know of. There's a number of channels that are dedicated to philosophy and free thinking, and I'm pleased to be amongst those groups. And we got our group here, and our group extends out. So anyway, gotta love it. That's reality, this whole perception of reality, holes in reality. And I was thinking about that, you know, it is said that when we were exploding these atomic weapons in the atmosphere, that we were freaking ripping the time-space continuum up. And many would contend that you think about it, you got this energy, splitting the atom, right? Splitting the hydrogen atom. Um, and we're thinking it just makes a big boom, right? Well, there's good evidence that says differently. Says that we may jacked with something that we can't fix. Uh, there are some theories out there that says that we're living in an alternative reality that was never meant for us. We were never meant to be down this road. Well, I don't know if that's true or not, but something's definitely messed up. And you think about ripping space-time, reality, altering molecules, atoms, and how does this affect, if we blew it up on Earth, Earth, I believe, is a living entity. And I don't think she really dug that shit at all. And then we went underground because humans are nuts. They're the most unstable creature in the universe. And we're playing with things that we've got no freaking idea what we're doing. We're going to talk about these holes in reality. It is said that in some cases, when you think about how we began with, splitting the atom, and then we were into this thing where we're now looking for new particles, CERN, and all the conspiracy and the thoughts about what CERN is doing. I don't know what CERN is doing. I've never been there. But I can read what their hypotheses are. You can do that. You can go right online and realize what this super collider is about. Now, if it is true that reality is really predicated on the minuscule, it's not the big thing. That universe out there, that's just an illusion. We'll never get there, at least not in this time frame. But reality is this quantum. And if you begin to alter the principles of quantum, well, logic would say that there would be a potential cause and effect, right? I mean, how many stories we hear about the ETs coming down here? I did one on, the looking glass device. Who knows? But it would seem that there is something now afoot. Now, it's like the subject of cryptids, and if you follow that genre, what we're discovering is that we're finding out that there are entities that exist in multiple dimensions within our reality. It seems like some of these cryptids have the ability to actually move from one dimension to another. I contend we do that all the time. They just don't teach us that. And then we're finding out that there are these beings, these creatures that it used to be that in the local area, everyone had their own folklore. But now we got cameras. Never in a time of recorded time have we been where you have basically 8 billion people that have cameras. And then you add a couple more billions, because governments are so fucking paranoid. Remember, these governments are run by assholes. I mean, they got their head up their ass so far, they don't know if it's daylight or dark. They don't care. But anyway, and so you got cameras everywhere, right? You got them listening to us. Hi. Bet you'd like to be like me, huh? Well, you can be. But anyway, and it is said now because of our technology, how we're learning that the visual light spectrum is far greater than our perception of the acuity of our eyes. Our eyes see everything in reverse. Well, that tells you something right there. So now we're having the ability that cameras can see in the IR, they can see in the ultraviolet. I mean, getting full spectrum. And now we're finding out that there's things like there really are shadow people. There's apparently animals, species that we have no idea who or what they are. Don't know if they've always been here. Don't know if they're new arrivals. But if you were to take the thought that, let's say they've always been here, well, that doesn't surprise me. I mean, you think about, actually, I pulled this up. Um, so allow me to go over here. Smoke them if you got them. Don't bogart, by the way. Be generous. But anyway, so this is from hubpages.com, educational. This is what this is. The type of cryptids. So we're finding out that these creatures, are everywhere. It says, where did they come from? And it says almost all cryptids have their own creation stories, each stemming from its location of origin. Most cryptids have mysteriously manifested from local legends. Is it possible that we can actually create an egregore? Goyim? Can we create these beings, these monsters, whatever you want to call them? Maybe. So some of these creatures are said to have resulted from curses. Okay. Others seem to have sprung from the unfortunate acts of nature. Well, creation never stops. That's the one thing I try to talk to the Christians out there, and they can't perceive this. They actually perceive that this creation thing was limited, and it's very ambiguous as to how long. My contention is, by what I've read, studied, meditated on, seen, I know what Martin Luther meant when he said, "I've seen the other side." Yeah. But I digress there again. It is very obvious that either nature is continuing to create, it's a internal force that can't be stopped. Once it's unleashed, it can't be called back. So maybe nature is involved. I mean, if species evolve, then we would see evidence of such. And I think we do. I think it's right in front of our faces. But anyway, it says, of course, until we're able to locate these creatures and prove they exist, their full stories remain. Well, we have enough on camera, and even in this day of the internet where everyone can't believe what they're actually seeing, that there's enough evidence that not everything is manipulated. So there are different type of cryptids. There's terrestrial, aquatic, and aerial. We're catching more and more of the aerial, seeing more of the terrestrial. And as far as the aquatic is concerned, we know that for a fact that they actually exist. Terrestrial cryptids are by far the most popular of all cryptid types known, or rather reported in the world. This isn't because they are the most numerous, but it's more likely because humans spend most of their lives on land, giving us more opportunities to encounter them. Now, I thought this was really interesting, the list of terrestrial cryptids. Bigfoot, Yeti, Sasquatch. It's said that the United States military, they know that these creatures exist. They've actually captured them. But, you conclude what you want. The chupacabra, they say that's actually up here in the Ozarks too. The Mongolian death worm, giant man-eating worms. They're in the Gobi Desert. I love Dune. So when I see these death worms, I'm going, yeah, okay. I mean, a great narrative, right? Skunk ape, that's down there in Florida. The Beast of Bray Road. That's an interesting one. I've seen stories on this, and apparently it's a werewolf-like creature. And then that gets into the whole thing, can humans turn into lupine? Can they turn into, wolves? I grew up with Boris Karloff, and um, loved the werewolf. I mean, as a kid, I actually had the models, I had Dracula, I had the werewolf, I had the swamp creature from the Black Lagoon. I mean, yeah. The Yamataki, that's the giant snake. That's in Japan. Flatwood monster, humanoid creature with a spaded shape head. West Virginia. Got to talk to Ryder about the next time. Um, we will be getting together, but get well, Ryder. Natty the bear. I think Natty the bear is probably akin to the cocaine bear. I mean, the devil monkey, monkey-like creature with a canine face. The Almas, creatures resembling Neanderthals. Well, wait a minute. Neanderthals are humans. Are they still here? Maybe they weren't extinct, right? Anyway, you look at this list, and I mean, it just goes on and on and on. The Moose Man, large moose with human-like features. Well, you can read in the book of Revelation and get the whole throne of God thing. I mean, these seraphim, these creatures, I mean, what a freaking trip that is, right? The Wendigo, cannibalistic corpse, the werewolf. Then you got the aquatic, Nessie, the mere people, human fish hybrids. Listen, if you study human history, wasn't it, who was it? Is it war that came from the ocean? The half human, half man, half fish that taught humans, you know. Hmm. The binyip was a bird alligator hybrid. That's down in Australia. CJ, I guess you could talk on that one. The Zartan, giant sea turtle with an island on his back. I can believe that shit. The Ogopogo, that is in Canada, lake monster resembling a sea serpent. And we now see virtually everywhere video evidence of these lakes all over the freaking world. I mean, maybe these creatures have learned to survive and evolve. Um, we still don't even know 90% of the oceans. A lot of more lake monsters, sea serpents, giant octopus, giant eel-like creatures. Well, we have found on both the squid, octopus, and the eels that these things can grow massively. I mean, look at the humpback whale. I mean, wow. The Ninja, remember when I did the video on the tsunami in Japan in 2011? So we know that these creatures, they exist. Go back and look at that video. I did a frame by frame. And I guarantee you that wasn't no Photoshop bullshit. I mean, yeah. The Mahamba, the giant crocodile, like, well, full of Egyptian folklore in that one. The Kraken, I always love it. Release the Kraken. The Bermuda Beast, the Brosno Dragon in Russia. I mean, so yeah. Then the aerial cryptids. These are the interesting ones that I think, and you see more and more videos, amateur videos of. It's obviously it looks to be some sort of bio mass form, and even if in my case, you come from Christianity, talks about them existing. I happen to believe that dragons still exist. That's why they always call us nuts. Well, those people, yeah, those people. The Mothman, West Virginia, the Popa Waba, a bat-like creature I have in Tanzania. I love Tanzanite. Um, the Hodag, dragon-like creature, Wisconsin. So you begin to look at all of these creatures and you're going, okay, so, do they actually exist? I don't know. I think everyone's got their own opinion. You got yours, I got mine. I mean, some people really believe in ghosts, evil spirits that somehow ghosts, become benevolent and exactly. And, you start thinking the logic of that. You're going, all right, I believe that there is life after death. There is some sort of life. I know that. Um, but do I think that people get lost in between realms? I think that happens. I think it's a very plausible explanation. And if you carry your emotions over to the other realms, and I don't think there's just one, well, imagine if you really screwed up. I don't know what that would be, but let's just say hypothetically, you screwed the pooch so bad that when you die, you're going to be fucking trapped in between realms. Now, if that is true, and if you carry your emotions and you carry your conscious thoughts with you, right? That drive you fucking nuts. Probably make you really angry, wouldn't it? So is that what we're seeing manifest? I mean, is there the realm of the demons and the angels? You just simply have to ask a demon, so what's your fucking purpose? You're such a badass, so what's your existence? Because if you're telling me your existence is what I read here, what a sorry freaking life you live. You ain't evolving anywhere. How pathetic. Is this what a demon is? And you angels, what the hell are y'all doing? This is your existence? Us? Oh no. Someone says purgatory of sorts. Yeah, I think, I think that there is that real possibility. We read the book and we didn't finish it all the way through because we just don't do that often here. But Ghostland, that those who commit heinous um, actions, I think most politicians end up there. Because you see, when you lie, you deceive, and you do it deliberately, that carries over. In karma, the check always comes due. There's no free pass. That's why I study diligently. I question my beliefs. I question where I stand. And apparently, I've been rewarded in certain areas of being allowed to see into things. But then again, I look at this and I go, well, for me, that's not unusual. I mean, I've taken enough, trips that I know what it is to coexist in multiple realities at the same time. I loved it. I thought it was always fascinating how I could see the paisleys and the different colors while I'm actually in a reality that everybody else is sharing that they can't see. I mean, that taught me very early in life that there is nothing as a single reality, that reality has holes in it. And if you're adaptable to that, and listen, I got hung up for almost 50 years in one particular, but as I look at it back now, I brought these gifts that I'd already had bestowed, earned, whatever the freak you want to call it. But yeah. And so the paranormal, the supernatural is very natural. I don't find anything super about it. And so getting back to this point, I think that this ghost land, this realm, and listen, you can't dismiss all the religions. I think there are threads of truth within every one of these different theological beliefs. I believe most of you see it the same way. So, they write about this. And if humans can write about it, then I believe we can make it real. We've done it with the modern gods. I don't see how we've always done it. And so getting back to this point where, for myself, and what I have to really tell you, there is this fine line. I've seen some people really messed up. It scrambled their essence. And then I've seen others like myself where, hey, it was an amusement park. And fortunately, I was a part of TRIMS, which is now, I'm pretty well convinced, probably a CIA-backed program. But they gave us really good LSD 25. It's what it was. It was clear liquid. And, they put the little nose dropper thing and right under your tongue, and off you went. And of course, they had us doing, meditation experiences and all other kind of stuff. But yeah. And none of the people I remember in those sessions, none of us freaked out. I mean, it was like, okay, it's cool. The more intense the effect, the more interesting it became. But anyway, uh, voice Stephanie says we need to raise the spirit of the matriarch mother and the matriarchal daughters to bring back what some of the I agree with you on that. Listen, and I know I'm taking a little side trip over here, but to expand out on that, Stephanie, I think there's a lot. Because if you look at Satanism and Christianity, it's male dominant. The feminine is out. They try to pretend, but Satanism is as much bigotry as Christianity, as Judaism, as Islam. I think the Hindus probably got it right. The Native Americans, they had it kind of right. You'll find more of the feminine in those belief systems than you will find in the Abrahamic belief systems. So I happen to agree with you on that, Stephanie. I think that it's one of the things that is devoid. And I think that's one of the things that's a problem with our society today. It has been so biased, removing the feminine. Any reference to the feminine being holy, sacred. No, all these Abrahamic religions reduce women to whores. That's what they do. Even the Jesus story is a story about a rape. I don't care what you want to call it, but that's what it is. And it demeans the feminine spirit. And I think we suffer for that as a species. Most males can't handle a strong female presence. Most men collapse under it. And so they do everything they can to ensure that that doesn't happen. It's just true. I would love to see a woman president, not Kamala Harris. She is not qualified. I wish she was. I have nothing against her. But we have quality, intellectual women that obviously bring a quality of leadership that is lacking within our government. Our government is male dominant. It sucks. What got me off on a tangent on that? But it's a fact. We as a species have lost our humanity because we lost the understanding and the knowledge of what the divine feminine is. It is creation. Creation is not male. It's not an Aphrodite. It's not a portion of another female. No. That's a distortion. But that's just my opinion. Paul says, yeah, you should meet my mother-in-law. What did Cat Stevens says? I'm looking for a hard-headed woman. Yeah, one who, and it's true. I love that song, by the way. Is my it's so good. Growing up, we had these artists and the newness of the music, and Cat Stevens. Wow, I mean, that's all I got to say. Where did the children play? We won't get fooled again. And not Hillary Clinton. Yeah, Hillary. You know what? Yeah, we got better. That's all I got to say. We as a nation, if we would just recognize the treasures that we have and exalt them up to where they need to be at. But, and when we'll see that is that when you begin to see the laws, like in the summertime at a beach, if a man can go without a shirt, so should be able a woman. Why are we as males so put off by the woman breast? But yet, most men will masturbate to the fact of the woman breast. So, we got this split system. And until we get our heads out of our ass and we begin to see that the human body is just anatomically, that's just how it is. Straight talk from our Wayne Steiger. That's all I could say. Okay. Kaya, what's up? But it's true, you know? I mean, I look at there are some fabulous. I've met a few in my time, and particularly when in the early days of the internet when we would do these executive mind shares. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant women. Mm. And every one of them will tell you there is, no matter how they competed, there was always these unseen restrictions. But anyway, I digress. Uh, oh, there we go. Bold as a lion. Why not choose light? Well, then if we're going to choose light, then that means we're going to choose Lucifer, right? Bold as a lion. I mean, Lucifer is the female wisdom and knowledge. True. Hello, Lilith. How are you, darling? Good to see you. Visas whom I like to cover up. No, I can dig that. I can dig that. My point is that there shouldn't be laws on the book restricting a woman if she wants to walk out in public, bare-breasted or not. Now, the individual has that, but you see, we're so far perverted into this white, religious thing. The Song of Solomon, read that. I mean, most of it would be. Oh, I just love it. Says, who wrote that? Says, I think I would not like men walking around with a boner, and maybe that's why boobies are all covered up. Again, that's conditioning. It is. It's just, and then you get into these morality issues, Now, Wayne, you have to have a certain decorum. We can't allow women to be bare-breasted because it's a distraction. No, because of the truth be known, God, whoever was responsible, gave them to women because they knew that women could handle it. Guys wouldn't. If guys had breast, we'd stay home and play with them all day. We wouldn't get anything done. Could be a trap hazard. Well, it says true. Guy says we trap ourselves. People don't like their bodies, so it makes it a convenient law. Isn't that the truth, though? Yeah. I mean, it's one of these small things, but again, it represents so much. Oh, and I didn't even get into you definitely know who's the prettiest girl in the room. Ah, see, I've always loved women. I mean, in kindergarten, I'm the guy out there flirting with the girls. I mean, it's like, anyway, I digress. And I look and I see what the time is. I didn't even get into I had some great books that papers I was going to make on this. This one deals with the fabric of reality, um, how we begin to address the inconsistencies, and we talked about this a lot. There's so many inconsistencies that it's almost becoming consistent, to have inconsistencies. Anyway, I got some great papers. We'll probably cover these tomorrow as well, get into this. We're going to get into the theory of everything. And I just wanted to read this little opening because I thought this one was really interesting. This writer on this one said, I remember being told when I was a small child that in ancient times it was still possible for a very learned person to know everything that was known. I was also told that nowadays so much is known that no one could conceivably learn more than a tiny fraction of it, even in a long lifetime. The latter proposition surprised and disappointed me. In fact, I refused to believe it. I did not know how to justify my disbelief, but I knew that I did not want things to be like that, and I envied the ancient scholars. I tell you what, I've been there in my mind. Um, I could see back at the first century, it was when the Age of Enlightenment was coming to an end, but to where you would have the amphitheaters in virtually every city in Asia Minor, that where people could come and listen to great philosophy, different points of view, and then where you could come up and you could oratate your belief and do so in such a manner that you don't become a derogatory reference just because of something that you happen to not believe in. That's the thing that disappoints me. And I'm going to be very candid. I pick on Christians because you're the ones that always come back with the judging. Let your mind go and the body will follow. And God will still love you. Anyway, he says, it was not that I wanted to memorize all the facts that were listed in the world's encyclopedias. On the contrary, I hated memorizing facts. That is not the sense in which I expect to be possible to know everything that was known. It would have disappointed me to be told that more publications appear every day than anyone could read in a lifetime, or that there are 600,000 known species of beetles. I wish I had no wish to track the fall of every sparrow, nor did I imagine that an ancient scholar who supposedly knew everything that was known would have known everything of that sort. I had in mind a more discriminating idea of what should count as being known. By known, I meant understood. And that's one of the issues that I have where an all-knowing God is concerned. I just don't see that possible. What would be the purpose of a being's existence if it knows everything? If it knew everything that was going to happen, that's not life. I mean, that is a prison within itself. It's terrible. Limited. I don't hear military jets going over. Don't hear that all the time. But anyway. All right, folks. The creative, clean mind is never full. And that's what I really think in my existence. I mean, I've seen it in my spirit, that other side. It's real to me. May not be real to you. That's cool. Um, but I won't ever stop learning. Never. And that's far out. I like that. I've learned that the wisest answer that I can give at times is, I don't know. Could be not. The only way I do know is by seeking knowledge. I have coined the phrase, ignorance is a self-inflicted disease easily cured by knowledge. And I love it. And I'm looking forward to that. I don't know what actually happens in that process, but the learning never stops. I am creation. as you are. And as creation, that's what I'm experiencing, creation in all its many multifaceted forms. It's creation and it's beautiful. I never had a deep appreciation for creation. And when I realized that I am the active part of creation, as you are, wow. I mean, how cool is that? Now, for those souls or spirits that get trapped in that in-between realm, I think they're learning a few things. Who knows? Nothing stays as it is. The world is not static, it's dynamic. But that's just mine. So what else is going on? Connecting the rabbit holes. I like that. That's a great name there. Well, all you beautiful people, thank you. I love this time. This to me is so, it stimulates my spirit. It stimulates my intellect. And I'm telling you, the day will come where we will be together as a group. That's going to be a hell of a party. That's all I got to say. Could you imagine some of the stuff that we could come up with? Jeez. We just got to know how all the pieces fit. That's the fun of it, you know? And the thing about it is we all carry our own piece. That's why your piece is important, you know? And when we get together, we can start seeing the pieces and then we begin to start seeing, the images. And it's not pareidolia. It's actually real. So anyway, peace out, El Guapo. Right back at you. Jerry's good to see you. Eric, hello. So thanks, folks. Appreciate it. Rare privilege. That's all I can say. It's a rare privilege to be amongst such brilliant, brilliant minds. Hello there, Deborah. Good to see you, Lady Ellie. All right, folks. Love this first, and then you can love everybody. Because I think that, that's what I see when people try, to divide and bifurcate us. It's that because they're envious of what we got. Unity, love, unconditional love. I mean, you may believe that it's blue and the other person may believe it's red. It's cool. It's a color. That's commonality. So anyway, Robert Scott, right back at you. I'm reading your email, brothers. And I got to say thank you. I share them with Lynn as well. So, all right, everybody, much love. Get yourself something to eat. In my realm, it's a little bit past lunch, but, love the body. The mind will excel. And until we meet again, I'm going to be here tomorrow. We're going to continue this thing about the holes in reality. I like this because it's all perception. Anyway, until we meet again, thank you, thank you, thank you. Mr. Floyd says, thank you for hitting the like button. I'll reiterate that. Thank you for hitting the like button. And again, we'll see each other tomorrow. Tomorrow. All right, folks, as I go over here, as I hit this button, let's see. There we go. Now I'm going to say goodbye.